Hello everyone, my name is SwingPoynt and welcome to Resident Evil Resistance. This is the multiplayer game bundled with Resident Evil 3, and that is coming out later tonight, which is really exciting. So now I'm going to finally show you how I think you can play Mastermind, or at least some tips and tricks on how to play Mastermind. Now, in most of the other matches, I was going ahead and showing you how to play these characters in real time, and I was doing it live. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you a video from one of the Twitch live streams that we do. Links in the description. We do tons of streaming into this game if you ever want to be a part of that. I'm going to take one of these Twitch live streams and then try to break down what I was thinking, because a lot of times when I play Mastermind, I start focusing, because every single time you play Mastermind is a completely different experience. And that can be said the same about the survivors as well, but the way you have to adapt and think is so varied when you're Mastermind, because you have 4 giant variables in front of you as opposed to, just one variable when you're on Survivor, which is the Mastermind. So what we're going to try to do here is I'm going to let this play, and I'm going to commentate over the top of my live stream. There will be times where I lower the volume so I'm not talking over myself. And then hopefully you can learn a little bit about what's going through somebody's brain when they play Mastermind. Now, this match is what I would say a team of skilled survivors. They're not going to be lights out. They wipe every single person they ever go against because they did make mistakes. But they're also not one of those matches where, you can stomp on them in 2.5 minutes and it's over. They fought back, they knew what they were doing, but they did make some mistakes, and so did I. And I want to talk through what I felt I could have done better, what I should have been thinking, and what they could have done better as well. Okay? So, let's click play here, and it should load right on in. And what you'll notice right away is I'm going to try to jump on them, because sometimes you can get away with it. So I put a zombie over there right away. I can't tell if it was a toughie. That was a regular zombie. If you're lucky, it's going to be a toughie. And I checked the map to see if Jan was here, and she wasn't. So I tried to pop in there right away and take advantage of it, but Sam and Tyrone were on top of it. It's too freaking, I hate when they're prepared. Okay. Sometimes you can get in there and get away with one. I locked the door right away to slow them down, so I have more time to build up in here. I'm going to put down a leg hold trap, so if they barge in, I can trap them in the leg hold trap.
Sams are super aggressive. They
Now, in this situation, I'm like, I want to get the liquor, but I also really want an enhancer. The reason why you want the enhancer is because it speeds up your zombies by like 2 times at least. So doing that makes it much, much easier for you to pull some fun tricks out when you are playing as a tough zombie. So I got my berserker and I can move much faster. You see that? I'm going to close the door on them, because sometimes what they'll do is they'll open and they'll back up and just try to shoot everything in there. Keep closing the door on them. And then the zombie sits on it too. That'll force them to come in and go into the leg trap. And now I'm going to go out there and try to swing. Now, a lot of this just depends on how good they are at handling things. Sometimes the girls are bad at shooting. Sometimes the guys are dumb with their melee weapons. Sometimes a girl has a melee weapon. Sometimes the guys are using guns. What you want to do, though, is just try to swing into everybody you can, get some cleaves, because every successful hit you get as Daniel heals your zombie. Now, what I was saying right there is I charged after them. I should have made them come in, which I still agree with, because I didn't really get to utilize my leg trap. I charged after them because I thought I was going to be able to get the girls in the back, but they were too good at shooting me. Now, I put up another tough zombie here to try to go after them again. I closed the door as I went by to try to slow them down so I could single out Valerie a little bit better, and I almost got her. But now the boys were chasing me. I kept swinging and swinging because I was hoping I could hit Valerie and then also keep my distance from the guys, but I ended up running into a landmine. So they're going to beat me down here. I should get out of the zombie faster than I did, but I figured there was a chance I'd be able to get back up, but I was wrong. So my next objective here, I'm going to pause right here because I feel like this is something to talk about. So right here, what I tried doing was I went straight to an objective that I could hold. So they marched in pretty good. And if you took a look at the map, they already secured probably 2 treasures at this point, maybe 1, but they're about to get 2. But this third one is behind a door that I can go ahead and load up and then play with, and then, close the door on them when they try to come in. Close the door, close the door, close the door. That's something you can do with your controlled zombies, or really controlled anything, is you can close doors, you can turn off lights, you can, make the lifts go up and down in the final stage. So you got to use that to your advantage, and use it to your advantage often. And a lot of times you can separate people when you do that. You can, if you're in the camera mode, you can have somebody come in, lock the door behind them, and then your friends are still out, and then they're on the other side, and you can solo them out. Because the big thing that you want to do as Mastermind is pounce and get one person down, because once that happens, that's when people start to panic. That's when people have to start adjusting the way they think. And then you can really double down and make sure you secure yourself those 30 seconds. See if somebody does something silly for the sake of altruism, that type of thing. So let's advance here, and I'm probably just going to start loading this area up, putting down leg traps, putting in a liquor, making sure I can control a zombie.
Oui, that could be a key.
Midnight release? Oh, I'm so ready.
Would open this strange lock? How much do you
So we have a regular zombie in here. We don't have a toughie. I love having toughies. Initially, what I did here was I controlled the zombie because on the map, they started pushing, but then they backed off. So we're not going to pop back out, and I'm going to start loading up the room some more. I'm not sure why they backed off. I think when you're controlling a zombie, you're not necessarily gaining points either, which is something to keep in mind. Now, they barged in faster than I was expecting, so I had to take over my zombie real quick. You saw they tried to back up again so they could just kind of have the stuff bleed out so they wouldn't have to go and push their way on in here. But then I took over a zombie, so yeah, waste their time. I took over a zombie so that I could close the door. This zombie claps on the door for a bit, and then they can't get in because of that. And I just keep closing the door so they have to come in here. And now I separated them. Unfortunately, it was Sam, so he was able to clean me up pretty easy. But if it would have been anybody else, I would have been able to really pounce on them. This first area, they do really well. The second area, they don't. The Jan's doing a good job at using her cameras, and we actually pulled a trick on Jan later in this video, and it really, really worked out for us in the end. So I'll show you what that was. But they're going to clear, and I'm just going to let them get away with it. I'm not going to put stuff on the ground right as they're spawn, or right as they're going through, so I don't want to waste my points. Sometimes, if you can really delay them, you can put a Mr. X right here, and then attack them in the spawn, or just put a toughie and put them in the spawn. But I don't have any tough zombies. I don't have anything really great to use. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take over the Yorick, and I'm going to push him into an area where I can defend him. This is a really poor area to defend because you can't lock the door. You can't sit there and, you know, play door games on them. Sometimes I'll take Yorick, and I'll run him all the way to the exit because they don't think to look there. Or I'll run him all the way back to the spawn and try to sneak past them. So you can do a lot with Yorick to really delay their time because they can't get past this area without taking him down. So now I'm loading this room up, putting down leg traps. I don't like using landmines because it blows my stuff up. So you got to be kind of strategic with the landmines. I'm definitely going to end up enhancing in here, but I'm putting down a toughie before I start enhancing. And always be checking your map too. Kind of get an idea of what they're doing, what time you have to buy. Is it worth doing what you're doing? That type of thing. So like I'm going to put an Ivy in here because I felt like the Ivy would have been overkill and probably a waste where Yorick was because there's already a bunch going on by Yorick. So now I'm going to start locking doors because I want to be able to delay them. I want to be able to know when I get to pounce as opposed to, you know, them getting to choose. And then I'm going to start enhancing. I'm saving my machine gun for later because there will be good times to use machine guns and bad times to use machine guns. But ultimately what I'm trying to do right now is make them come to the objective. I'm not wasting points on them early, giving them free seconds. There's no point. They're just going to clear through them anyway because this is a good team. Jan tried to take over my cam there. I skipped off of the cam right away so she wouldn't get the plus 10 seconds, and then she wastes her ability if she doesn't back off on it. I relocked the door again. I need to lock the door behind me. That way if they try to run, they're stuck, and I can really pounce on them. I have Mr. X available, but I'm not going to use him yet. I'm hopping on Yorick because they're getting pretty close. But then they're pretty slow, I think. Let me see here. Sam looked like he was coming. So maybe I could have put something else in here. I'm sitting on 10 points right now. Oh, okay, now I am going to do it. Okay. So I'm going to lock the door behind me and turn the lights off. You want to turn the lights off. That can really screw people. But I'm surprised I didn't put any other stuff in here because I was sitting on 10 points. If you're sitting on 10 points, it's not like you're going to get 11 or 12. 10's the max you can get. So I'm going to try to separate them again. There we go. So I got Sam getting a bite. Every time a bite happens, that's 15 seconds. So sometimes you can time bites. Unfortunately, like I said, this is a good team. Their Tyrone used the ult that he has, so I can't even damage them. If I'm swinging at them, I'm hardly getting health back as well because I'm hardly damaging them. So I could have tried to have run as Tyrone, but they kind of pinned me in. Not run as Tyrone, run as Yorick, but they kind of pinned me in. Jan's taking me out again. So let me go ahead and pause here and talk about what we do in this situation after they clear that area really easy. So on the eastern side, you see the one down the hallway. I'm not going to start putting a bunch of zombies down over there because they're going to be easy clears. I can't put enough stuff down there to guarantee myself a kill. Because again, what we're really trying to do is secure one person and then really, really, really take that as an opportunity. Because they started this room with 6 minutes. And if you don't really take advantage of your chances that you get, you're just trickling into them and then they're just going to keep beating you if they're a good team. So what I'm going to do in this situation, I'm already guessing, is I'm going to probably make sure this room in the manager's office is ready for them to come on in. But then I'm also going to go ahead and try to, if there's something easy for me, distract them that way. I'm not going to use Mr. X until I have a good opportunity. And usually what that good opportunity is for me is I already down someone, and then they sit there and they all group up and they all try to protect and they all try to pick them up. And then you can just haymaker them and swing onto them. So let's go forward a little bit here. But it looks like what's going to happen next is they're going to push through this door, and then they might think about this one. But if they make a mistake, I'm going to pounce on it because I've been saving that machine gun for a really, really good opportunity. The machine gun is really good for getting a lot of seconds off the clock quickly, but it's also good for doing damage. And something to keep in mind is that Tyrone already used his ult, so Tyrone can't protect them from me using the machine gun. So I'm going to take who I can get here. All right. And now also, one other thing is that Sam has the key. So if you're going to focus on anybody, if Sam's available to get, go after him because he's the one who is holding their objective in his hands. Okay, I'm going to save my door lock for when I need it. Yep, save the door lock. So what I mean by saving the door lock, something I like to do in this room, I'm not sure I even get the opportunity really, but something I like to do in this room is if they barge into here and try to take this, I like to let them come in after I'm controlling a zombie. Hopefully I can get one of them. And then as they're sitting there all grouped up in here, I lock the door behind them, drop Mr. X, and then they think they can just run away right away. A lot of times that'll get them stuck, especially if, Val or Jan tries to open the door because they're a little bit weaker at opening doors. You throw Mr. X on there and then you can just keep plowing into them. And then sometimes they get greedy and try to save. So I can just sit there and kind of puppy guard them a little bit and then see if they push a little too far or get a little too antsy with me. And then I can, maybe even secure another kill. So let's keep going here. See, I'm just loading up this room and getting it ready at this point. Because they're not really pushing it yet. But this is a major point because there's an objective in here and they can't advance until it's completed. And this is a really easy one for me to defend because there's a door to use. Now, I'm just going to let him get away with this one, I think. Yeah. I think about the machine gun, but it's not worth it. So I back off and look for a different area. Because, again, I can't hold that objective. It's too easy for them to get and secure it. Now, right here, I'm like, okay, they're all going to run down here together. I'm going to focus on someone. Now, Jan's the one who takes out my cam, so I focus on Jan. And I got pretty lucky with her going down that quickly. But now Jan's down, so I need to pounce on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flash him so that he can't save her, and then I'm going to put down a Mr. X because he's still blinded. They don't even know I'm here, and then I can start swinging on him. And Sam has the objective, which means if I take him out, they can't be doing anything right now, which is perfect. Now, if you're using Mr. X, doors can be your worst nightmare, but there's a couple of ways that you can deal with doors as Mr. X. I try to pulverize Tyrone here because this is what I was talking about where he tries to save somebody. He's like, okay, I'm going to get there. I'm going to save somebody. Hopefully Mr. X goes the wrong way, and then I can go and save my teammates. So you kind of got to sit on these people a little bit after you have this opportunity. But now there's a couple of things that you can do. You guys have seen me dunk on Mr. X a lot, but there's some things you really need to know about how you can be good with Mr. X. And I'm not sure I use them all in this video, so I'm going to talk to you about them real quick. If you use Stalker and you scan anybody, you walk so much faster. Mr. X, he's kind of slow. Use Stalker, and then you'll get a ton of speed. Rampart is good for if they're throwing grenades at you, which, in my opinion, is a thing that this team really, really, really did poorly with. If they would have used grenades, they could have cleared me out, and they probably would have destroyed me. But they really screwed up in the grenades department. But again, use Rampart so you can, eat shots, prevent stuns, eat grenades, that type of thing. One thing I do often when I'm teasing Mr. X is I'll just go in and out of a door, in and out of a door. The way you make it so that Mr. X can deal with that is you make him short. How do you make him short? If he tries to pulverize, he can grab through a door and then just grab somebody by the head. But, oftentimes there's multiple survivors there, so you don't want to waste your pulverize. But another thing you can do is if you are sitting on the other side of a door and you go into a bull rush, he'll bull rush right through the door. He's not going to sit there and get stuck on the door. So that's a really nice way to catch people off guard if they're sitting there teasing you on a door and you're Mr. X.
You move fast.
So here's me using Stalker. Yep, there I set it in there. And they don't know that all the time, so I caught her off guard with that. Now, Jan's dead. I go back to make sure that Tyrone doesn't get any ideas, but you got to keep checking your map. Always check your map so you can kind of get an idea of what the survivors are thinking, right?
Don't even think about it, Tyrone.
Yeah, I was telling Tyrone not to try to save Sam. Now, Sam's going to die. They're going to come back into the spawn, and then I'm going to push them into their spawn. And this Valerie makes some critical mistakes by sitting back in this spawn. She dead ends herself. And now I can go secure Valerie here, and now she's dead. And I'm going to keep pouncing on these opportunities that I get. If somebody goes down, they can't leave. They can't get to the next area if someone's down, unless their timer's at 0, which is a situation they don't want to be in.
Oh, I love them.
I should clarify that. The only way that you can really get into the next area without all 4 people is if the objective is completed. So they would have to have all 3 of these terminals done, and then somebody sitting on the exit. But if you don't have all 4 people sitting on the exit, you're going to have to wait until your timer hits 0, which is a horrible place to be in. So if you're just sitting there playing keep away with a survivor, you're probably going to win every time. If you're really making it so they can't get there, they're going to lose. So try to take advantage of that. So seeing as how Valerie's down here, what I tried to do next was put zombies down here to keep her down here. Sometimes what you can do is you can pay attention to which survivors ain't really with it. And this Valerie kept going backwards. She kept trying to run away rather than, you know, run past me. And because of that, she cost her team the game, really. So Sam goes ahead and runs off, and then I'm like, Valerie, what are you doing? So I just put up another tough zombie there and keep pouncing. Keep pouncing. Keep pouncing. That dealer got in her way because Sam didn't help clean it up. That's something that Sam should have done in that situation. So what happened before was I attacked her with the dealer. Sam helped her get out of it, but they didn't finish the dealer. He just got it off of her and ran off. And then Valerie, you know, tried to get her bearings back, and then there's a dealer standing right there, so she couldn't walk back through. So during that time, I went ahead and used a tough zombie to go ahead and back up what was happening there. And then Valerie felt like she was forced to back up. Really what she should have done was she should have tried stunning me with either a grenade or just a couple of shots to the head and then ran past me. But this is part of when you're playing Mastermind, you have to take advantage of their mistakes, just like they're going to try to take advantage of yours. So because of this, I'm just going to go ahead and either claw at her to reduce her health, or something you can do, again, every single bite is minus 15 seconds off of their clock. Sometimes a bite's really nice for just grabbing them and stopping them if they're really getting some good shots on you, or if you just want to break their fluidity, you can try jumping on them. So I'm gonna corner her, and I gotta be careful here because she's getting some shots off. I'm lucky she wasn't hitting headshots. She was hitting my legs and stuff. If she would have hit headshots, I'd have been in trouble. But now she tried running around me, so I grabbed her so she couldn't do that. And then I don't know if the dealer's still here. They're coming back to save her finally, but I don't know what this move is. Oh, she was infected. She couldn't run away from me. So if you get a bite, you're going to infect them a lot of the times. And then that makes it so it's harder for them to run away. I didn't even consider that until just now. Now, we did a great job securing this for a long time. And part of the reason why I was really doing this was because sometimes survivors won't push unless their team's together. Or if somebody's down, they won't feel like they can do the next objective. And if that happens, you can just keep doubling down on that opportunity where someone's downed, and then that buys more time for this room that I had already set up. What they should have done, what they could have done, was when they weren't helping Valerie, they should have been clearing this room. But instead what they did was they left it there for me, and now there's only 1 minute and 14 seconds left, and I have a whole new ambush ready for them. So we're going to open this up into here, or they're going to try to open it up, and they're going to have a big thing in front of them to try to handle. Now, you can easily handle this room the way I have it set up with some grenades, which is what I was saying this team didn't do very well. If they would have had grenades or Molotovs, they could have destroyed me, but they didn't, so I was able to take advantage of that. And I'll show you how that all worked out. I'm probably going to put leg traps in here so they can't run in. Ooh, I also have my blinding flash for when they walk in here. Nice. That's another nice thing, too. If you blind them, you disorient them when they try to come in, it makes them panic. It's about taking advantage of how people feel when they're in these situations. Stressing them out, making them feel like there's too much in their way. And this was a great play by me, and I'm so impressed by it. Okay, so I'm at 12:58. I want to show you what exactly I did here, because this was a really, really, really big deal. So in the room that we're going to ambush them in, I have a camera. Only way I can damage them is with that camera. And I saw Jan sitting here. So something I did to try to lure Jan's skill out of her and put it into cooldown was I sat on this camera and I put like a zombie dog on the ground. Something super cheap to go ahead and get her attention. So what that caused Jan to do, because she wasn't thinking 2 steps ahead, was she just tried to take out the camera that was right in front of her. I'm going to let her have the 10 seconds. I'm going to let her take it because this camera doesn't mean a whole lot to me in the next step. I wanted to make sure my camera in the room where I was going to really try to pounce on them was available. And since she was on cooldown, I didn't have to worry about it. So I did this on purpose, and I was like, yeah, it worked out. So watch this. I'm going to put something there. I even said it. Let her take it, right?
That's what I wanted.
And now I have this camera. I don't got to worry about it being hacked by Jan. And they're going to be so overwhelmed with the blinding flash that I'm going to put on them with this big ambush there. So bam. Now I'm going to take over a zombie. I didn't find a toughie. I don't know where he is. But I'm going to play the door game with him again. So separate him out if I can close the door behind me. Oh, I'm just getting some swings in. I'm surprised I didn't close the door. I really disagree with Tyrone using a gun here, by the way. But we just overloaded them. We hit them with the flash and we made them rush in because the time was low. And that's how you win.
I control everything here.
Sorry,
So,
trying
yeah.
to get really into it. I don't talk much.
I expected
Hope
disappointment.
that's okay.
So let's talk a little bit about what happened there. Well, let's talk a little bit more about other things that are really helpful as the mastermind. Main thing I really wanted to drive home was just keep thinking, what's their next plan? What are you trying to keep away from them? The best way to be good at Mastermind is to play Survivor. The best way to be good at Survivor is to play Mastermind. You got to understand the other person's perspective. And what we tried to do was just take what they needed and take it away from them. Or take a teammate and then make it so that they want to save them and then take away that time. Because every time someone dies, that's 30 seconds. But if they revive them, they get 15 seconds back. So it's about creating opportunities, creating ambushes. If you're just putting zombies on the ground in front of them, you're just giving them free time. You never want to feed them. That's literally what I would call it, is feeding. If you're putting zombies right in front of them as they're standing right in front of you, they're just going to beat them down as soon as they come up, and you're giving them free time, which is a super rookie move. You don't want to do that. Something we didn't get to see in this match was the third area. The best thing I can tell you about the third area is, again, just creating choke points via your environment. The best thing you can do then is make sure the lifts, I guess for this map, make sure the lifts are high. You always want to make sure the lifts are high, because if the lifts are high, you block them off from different parts of the map. And sometimes, let's say they really rock and they got all the canisters done. One of the best things you can do is just try to solo somebody out on the other side and down them before all 4 people get to the exit. Because if you can do that, sometimes you'll get people that a little too hung up on saving, and you can lure people out of the exit and really take advantage of, again, their need to save their teammates, their altruistic nature. You're always just trying to get into their skin and make sure that you're taking something away from them that they might want or that they might need. And one other thing I want to stress about this mastermind video is that every single time you play is going to be completely different. So I can show you a couple of ideas and what I'm trying to think when I'm going through these situations, but at the same time, you're going to run into unique situations every single time you play. So I just wanted to instill into you guys some, kind of philosophy on how to handle things, which is catch them when they're off guard, take advantage of your opportunities, and take things away from them. And if you can do that, if you can set up ambushes, if you can make sure people don't get revived, if you can prevent them from getting objectives, that's some of the best stuff you can do. And again, this was a pretty decent team. I would argue that survivors are stronger than masterminds, but if you're going ahead and you're playing like this, you're going to win most of your mastermind matches anyway. So I hope this helped. If you guys enjoyed this, let me know. If you guys have any more questions, let me know. We're definitely going to be covering the full game when it comes out, and that'll be coming out later tonight. I'll be streaming it. So thank you so much for being here. We stream every single night, twitch.tv/SwingPoynt. Link is in the description. I would love to see you over there. And if you want to subscribe to this channel, we'll be covering the other characters that are in this game. We'll be covering the other maps. We'll be covering the other masterminds, the other cards. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out here, and we're going to cover the story mode anyway. So thank you so much for being here, chat. I appreciate you all. I hope this was helpful, and then I will see you guys in the next video that we do around here.